Knowing if your spouse or partner is having an emotional affair can be tricky. Is your partner confiding in you a lot less than they used to? Have they suddenly become emotionally distant? Hi, I'm Lucas Owen. So what are some of the signs that demonstrate or show that your spouse or your partner may be having an emotional affair? Now, emotional affairs are kind of tricky. A lot of people don't really know what they are. Emotional affairs are typically affairs that don't involve any physical intimacy, however, involve a level of emotion and thought involved. Basically, a level of emotion and thought directed towards someone else who is outside of the marriage. Now, some of the signs to look for as far as emotional affairs are concerned is if your spouse is communicating with someone else on a consistent basis. This could be every single day. It could be something as harmless as texting every day, or exchanging emails with someone else outside of your marriage, and they don't really tell you about these messages that they receive from this other person who is supposedly maybe a work colleague, or just some colleague outside of the home. If they're doing a lot of correspondence with this person, that could be a good sign that there's some kind of emotional affair going on. Also, if you notice that your husband is meeting this person outside of the home, maybe they could meet on a leisure engagement, they could maybe be tennis partners or gym partners, and they're constantly meeting on a regular basis, then there's something else there that's not really healthy for your marriage. Also, you may want to look into like floating messages, the types of messages that your spouse receives from this other person. It could be something as innocent as "How is your day going?" from this other person, but as time goes on, those messages change and become more flirty. If your spouse or your partner is receiving more flirty messages, or is sending more flirty messages to this other person, no matter how harmless it may seem, that's a very strong sign that there may be some emotional affair, that there's an emotional affair going on. And also, if your spouse or your partner hasn't received any correspondence from this person in a few days, and you notice that their mood has changed, they're no longer in a positive frame of mind, they may be sad, or they may be angry, or they may be not really willing to hang around with you. But if your spouse or your partner then receives a message from this other person and their mood totally changes, and now they're happier and they're more upbeat again, that's clearly a sign that they have an emotional connection with this other person, to the point where that their mood has actually changed. First from not hearing back from them, and now hearing from them. So another good sign that there may be an emotional affair going on. Also, if your partner or your spouse is confiding in this person in the way that they don't confide with you, so if they're telling this other person about the problems that they're going through, or sharing intimate details with them, or innermost details, personal things that no one really should be sharing with someone else outside of marriage, if they're confiding in this person more and more with personal issues and not with you, then again, this is another good sign that they have created an emotional connection with this other person outside of your marriage. And if you're noticing that if you're going to be out and about with your spouse or your partner, and this other person is going to be around, maybe you're going to some kind of engagement with other friends, and you know that this other person is going to be there, and you notice that your spouse or your partner is taking extra time to look good, or dress nice or put on makeup or do these things that they normally don't do, then that's another great sign that they might be having an emotional affair with this other person. If they're subconsciously dressing themselves up and making themselves look nice, knowing that when you go out, you're going to come across this person, it's a great sign. Or if your spouse or your partner is going to be out on their own and they're going to be around this person, and you notice before they leave the home that they've really made themselves up to look nice, then again, another great sign that they may be an emotional affair. And also sexual fantasies. A lot of people consider sexual fantasies to be harmless, but if your spouse or your partner doesn't seem to be quite there while you're having sex or while you're intimate, and they seem to be away, like their mind is away, like they're not really there, fully there, then there's a chance that they may be having sexual thoughts about the other person. And if that is the case, then clearly there's an emotional affair going on as well. I'm Lucas Owen.